us?
It's actually an interesting story. So I grew up in Texas. I played soccer there my whole life. I coached there. I coached 2 years in Texas. My first year at a school called Bernie High School, and then my second year at a school called Liberty High School. And I always vacationed in Orlando. I just thought it was a lot of fun. So I decided, what if I just moved here? So I looked up a ton of jobs constantly, and I ended up finding East River High School. And so I contacted East River, said, hey, I'm a soccer coach. I'm also an English teacher because at the time I was only English certified. If you have any jobs available, let me know. I saw that you might have a soccer position. And Brandon Joseph, who is currently the athletic coordinator of Lake Nona High School, he contacted me and said, yeah, I'm really interested. So I did a virtual interview with them, and we found out, actually interesting enough, that Brandon Joseph was coached by my dad because Brandon Joseph is from Texas. So a little bit of a connection. We bonded over that, over my dad as a mentor and a coach. And then I got the job and I dropped everything and I moved to Orlando without knowing a single person. And everyone said I was crazy. And sometimes I think I kind of am for that.
It's the crazy things we do for soccer. And,
yeah, I mean, I knew Orlando had a great soccer community. I thought I'd have a lot of fun living here. And I was a little bit scared because I didn't know anybody, but I absolutely adore living in Orlando. So fast forward a little bit, coached at East River for a year. I had a great time. My team went to regionals, great group of girls, but I didn't really want to teach English anymore. I saw that Lake Nona had a soccer position open. I knew they had a great soccer program. I also saw they had a PE position available, and I applied and it worked out. And I've been at Lake Nona for a couple of years now, and I absolutely love it.
So you had a district championship at East River?
I did not at East River. We actually lost in our semifinals, but we had so many wins that they pushed us forward.
Gotcha. So based on your record, you made it to the tournament as well. Okay. So Lake Nona, it's a three-peat, back to back to back.
Yes.
And you were part of the last two.
I was part of the last two, correct? Yes.
So how before we talk to you about to tell us your story as a player, how was it to come into to high school? Because I remember when I coached high school, the first impact with the boys was like, who's this guy? You know, like he's gonna come here. Who's the new coach? And da da da. How was it for you coming into a championship team already? And having to stick to that program and stuff. How was and you're young, right?
Yes.
So you're relating to the girls at a young age. How was that the first impact? Because Lake Nona is not an easy community to step in.
It's not, but everyone has been very welcoming. And I will say it was not my first rodeo, because my first year coaching, it was for a school that every single year we just won district championship. And back then I was 22, straight out of college. So I was way younger. And I didn't know how to deal with the parents and the players and the coaching as much because I was learning. And having that year under my belt and then having a few extra years of coaching, I think that helped me out a lot. I have a lot of confidence as a coach and as a teacher. And I just had a conversation with the girls when I first met them and the parents. And I told them everything I know about soccer. I told them my values as a coach and what I look forward to doing. And of course, the players aren't going to trust me at first because they're worried. They're like, I have to prove myself again to a new coach. What if she doesn't get me? But in time, after tryouts and a couple of weeks of practice, I think we just really connected, and the rest is history.
Cool. Oh, wow. Officially, congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
You've done fantastic. And we are here as the biggest club in town, right, in our community. And we're watching the success of the middle school and the high school programs, boys and girls. Of course, we haven't done everything ourselves. There's a lot of clubs around. There's Orlando City, Lake Nona, South Orlando. There's a lot of people that have been involved. So I think the success of soccer in Lake Nona, it's a compound, a combination of everything that the clubs are doing, especially with the little kids. And I have to tell you, Savannah, you just came to Lake Nona 2 years ago, but I think the next 10, 15, 20 years, based on the clubs we have around here, I think the programs are going to be very strong. Not only middle school, that the boys have won back-to-back as well. The girls have won back-to-back. And now high school is starting to show the same thing. The boys' teams are amazing. And you guys, let's not talk about the girls. They're three-peat, back to back to back. So
it's a gold mine here in Lake Nona.
it is. There's a lot of talent, and we're excited to be part of the formation of that talent. So why don't you tell us what was the biggest difference, if any, when you're talking, because like we've been talking a lot, I've been traveling a lot for different conferences and stuff, and the background for the players, it's very different state to state. So did you feel any difference? Are you coaching in Texas to come to Orlando with I don't know, the Brazilian community, the Hispanic communities, the Americans, the Lake Nonians, like we call it, the Lake Nonians, or Texas? Did you see any difference on those coming from Texas to Orlando, or is pretty much the same in terms?
That's a good question. I feel like Texas and Florida are very similar in certain ways, but also I think it just like definitely depends on the area you're at in Texas. Like my first year, I was more towards South Texas, and there was a big Hispanic community. And then my second year coaching in Texas, I was more towards the north and not as much. Whereas here, my year at East River, I think there was a good mix of everything, a lot of different cultures, which is always exciting for me to see. And then here, I think it's definitely a good mix of like Hispanic community. And I always find that really exciting, seeing the different cultures, because soccer's the same everywhere, but also it's a little bit different everywhere. And you can see how they play similarly, and also maybe with different cultures, they play also a little bit different. And it's exciting. And I think that's why we have such a well-balanced team, and I have so much depth.
Mm-hmm. And you come from education.
Yes.
So you're English teacher. Okay. And then, and then PE. As I was telling you earlier, we had a conference a couple of years ago. I did not tell you that story, but we had a conference with Atletico Madrid, one of the biggest teams in Europe. And they said that they hire educators over coaches. Mm. And I was telling you this story about other coaches that we had from the school system and stuff. Sometimes they're not the best when it comes to the technical part of the game, and too much tactics and X and O's and all of that. But the way to talk to the players, the way to communicate, the way to get the message across. Yes. And once we have a very direct methodology, having people like yourself and people like the other coaches we had really good success. What do you see the biggest strengths are for a teacher when they are coaching? You know, because there's a lot of coaches that are just coaches, and there are coaches that are teachers. And honestly, I prefer to have the teachers, you know. But how do you feel? Do you feel the difference? Do you feel that? Because it seems like you've been coaching as a teacher for all your career so far.
Yes. So in Texas, actually, you cannot be a high school coach unless you are a teacher. So that was something new for me coming here, that you could be an accountant but still coach for the school, which great. Glad that we have more people. It just was so new to me. But I would say that maybe the thing that I've noticed coming here is that some of the teachers, of course, really know their sport. Maybe some don't, but they just really understand kids and they have a passion for coaching. So it works out. You can learn a sport. And then some people really know their sport, but maybe they don't know how to talk and work with kids as well. Again, that comes with time. But I think being able to have the opportunity to be a teacher and also someone who really knows their sport, have that balance, is really special for me and a lot of the other teachers that I've met that are also coaches. But I've definitely noticed that when you have one side or the other, it's kind of a little bit of room to grow to learn the other side. But I think that they always get there with a good mentor.
Yeah, well, I'm impressed on how well you guys have done in talking to the other coaches at Lake Nona High. I think athletically, with the Lake Nona Junior Lions, with us, with Orlando City, Lake Nona, in every sport from basketball to football to volleyball, the girls are solid. You know, so I'm excited to be part of a community that is so focused on sport. So we're not going to talk about your playoffs. I don't need to, not yet. I will towards the end. We're not going to give all your secrets, but what was the biggest difference? Because when I was in high school, I had that problem, and I think people need to understand this. You guys won last year, and then you lost how many seniors?
We lost 9 seniors last year.
9 seniors, right? Mm-hmm. So normally the JV program is very strong when schools are this big and stuff. And so how was it? You already told us kind of how it was coming into your first year. Then you win. Then you lose 9 seniors. I lost 18 on my first time.
18?
18
It's the entire
seniors.
roster.
18 seniors, but our JV program was solid. And I was very involved when I was a varsity coach. I was very involved with JV because I knew that I had an old team, right? So it's always seniors, always going to be seniors. So I had 18, I think, on my first year and 12 juniors in JV. So it was a solid program. But then you lose 9 seniors. And then you go back to a whole season with back-to-back, you know, and
gotta get that third.
And you had to go for that third. What was the challenges that you encountered going into your third season of championship, but your second season?
And a lot of the seniors we lost were starters, great players. And this year, my seniors, I have, I think, 11. So it's going to be another year like that next year. But I think the biggest challenge for me, and I knew this from, like, I was thinking about this halfway through last season, was that both of my goalies on the varsity level were seniors, my starting goalie and my backup goalie, and they're both great goalies. And I think and I was training someone on the JV, but that ended up not working out. And I think in the back of my mind throughout the whole summer, it was just something I was really focused on. Who's going to be my goalie? And I had a kid in mind because this one kid, she's on my varsity team. She's a forward, really athletic, hasn't played soccer as long, but she's just so athletic that she picks things up. And I believe she plays karate, and she's so athletic that I was like, I can turn her into a goalie. She tore her ACL. So that did not happen. She ended up being back in the season by the end of the season, but not as a goalie. And one day I got an email that was the answer to my prayers from a parent. She said, hey, my daughter's a freshman. She goes to Excel. She really wants to play goalie. And I was like, perfect. I can work with that. And so my goalie this year was a little freshman, and ended up finding a couple other goalies, girls that I did not see as that for them. But for me, if you're athletic and you're willing to learn, we can make you a goalie. And I had a lot of help this year. I had a keeper coach, Sid Newcomb, and he helped out a lot. And I think that my goalie has been doing a really great job, especially being so young and so new to it.
Great. So that was the biggest challenge. Or what's the thing what was the, finding a goal is a challenge in every
Always.
Always. I tell you a little story, and I think it's become a revolutionary product in the market, which I'm very happy about. But my son is a goalie, the youngest, right? So we have a soccer field in our backyard. And I had my 2 oldest, and then every time during COVID, we just go in the backyard and pound the ball. And since he was a little kid the door was the goal, and we just pounded the ball at him. And then one day I was training him, and I was a striker, so I could hit the ball anywhere I wanted. And I say, hey, I'm gonna hit the ball here in this top corner 10 times. And it's like, he saves all the balls, and then on the other top corner you go 10 times and everything's fine. So when you put on the ground, he had a hard time sliding to the right. His dives to the left was perfect. Really? But he had a really hard time, and he was 9 at the time, 10 at the time, and he was having a really hard time diving to the right. And I say, okay, I'm stuck now. I can shoot at him all day long, but I won't be able to teach him the fundamentals of being a goalie. And then one of my players that was in college at the time, he graduated and he was looking for a job. I said, come here, sit down. You're going to be my director of goalkeeper. and I say, we need every good team starts from a good goalkeeper.
Yes. And
you need to teach Luan how to drop to the right, right? And so we were the first one that we opened the Nona Goalkeeper Academy. And then Johan, he's now the head goalkeeper coach at the Orlando City Academy. We're very happy, very proud of him. And he started this program for us. And then we start bringing other goalkeeper coaches. And today we have 40 goalkeepers.
Wow, 40 goalkeeper coaches.
Yeah. No. 40 goalkeepers training. We have 3 goalkeeper coaches. Two of our coaches, they are at the Orlando City Academy, and we're just recycling the coaches, which is nice. So there's, I think, 4 or 5 goalkeepers from Nona over there, and we started providing goalkeepers to everybody. So if you need a goalkeeper, let me know. I'll send it over your way.
That is something I will always need in my program. Anytime I had girls trying out, and I think maybe day 1 they started realizing that the other girls were really talented as field players, and had a couple girls say, hey, I want to try out as a goalie. I never cut goalies. I'm at least going to keep them on and just train them.
You'll be surprised though. In the next, let me see, 5 years, you guys gonna have some solid goalies coming up. We have Jenna. We have Jenna. She is U13 now. She's solid, and then from that age group and below, we have some good ones coming up. So the future of goalkeeping in Lake Nona, it's secure. we'll have Perfect. Some of them coming in. So, and what was the thing that you knew that you did not have to worry about? You know, we talk about your challenges, but you can come in and you say, hey, you were so confident that in this position or in this part of it that you learned through your first year that you didn't have to worry about going into the second year. Were you confident with the JV group coming up? Were you confident? What was it that you say, you know, if goalkeeper was a challenge and I find one, I'll be okay for the rest?
Yes. I'm never worried about having depth because last year my JV only lost 1 game. I think this year they only lost 2. I always call my JV my second varsity. I don't view them as a JV because I've coached for JVs before where those kids have never touched a soccer ball before. And it's always fun teaching it to them, but it's not soccer. But my JV at Lake Nona this year and last year, they're fantastic. And I actually coached my JV this year as well because some things didn't pan out with my assistant coach. So I didn't want to leave my JV without a coach. And at the same time, I didn't want them just to have a coach that didn't know anything about soccer because they're the future of my program. They're a good team and they're important to me. So I coached JV games and varsity games. So without a doubt, I always knew that I'm going to have depth. I'm never going to be in a situation where I'm going to have a spot in the field where I'm going to have to figure out who to put there in terms of this girl's really athletic, but she doesn't know anything about soccer. Like my starting lineup and my entire bench on the varsity, all great players. It's kind of for me like watching the women's national team where I always say that USA should be able to have like 2 or 3 teams win the World Cup. Won't talk about the last World Cup, but that's what I always say. So I feel the same way about my teams at Lake Nona. I feel like I could have 3 Lake Nona girls varsity soccer teams and they could all do extremely well.
No, I agree. I agree with you. I think the demographics for some reason here in Lake Nona, there's a lot of girls that makes the program really solid. And now, what are the challenges that you see for next year? Once you lose this 9 or 11
we're losing 11 this year. And so it's always going to be a little bit challenging to lose such a big class. And with the new high school innovation, that's the biggest challenge. I forgot about that. I have it. Things are still up in the air. Like, I'm not for sure who's staying and who's going. They're not for sure either. It's kind of up in the air. And I just know that I'm not just going to be losing my seniors. I'm going to be losing a lot of girls I didn't expect to lose. And that makes me sad not to get to kind of coach them all 4 years and see how they grow. But I know I'll always have a team. So I think my biggest challenge will definitely be figuring out that team chemistry. And maybe we have an abundance of defenders, but not a ton of forwards. For me, I always have a lot of forwards, and I got to train somebody to be a center back. My starting center back last year, she was a freshman last year and she's a sophomore this year. I did tell her last year, look, just play center back this year. Next year, when all the girls graduate, you'll earn your starting spot midfield forward. But she's so good at center back. Like, she is such a center back to me. So she started center back last year. She started center back this year, and she's such a difference maker for us, and she's such a team player. But I think that the biggest challenge will definitely be figuring out who's going to be on my team next year, because that's kind of up in the air. But I know that we'll be good. We'll just have to build up that team chemistry, and I'll just have to figure out some things. But we'll always be good.
Yeah, the split is going to be a challenge. In terms of quality, though, I think it'll be good for us because the volume of more players, more programs. Because I remember when Innovation Middle School opened, and there was games where there was 500 kids watching the game Lake Nona against Innovation, and my son was playing. Both of my kids were playing Lake Nona. And it's like, who are you cheering for? I have 10 players here, and I have 12 players
Huge
there.
rivalry.
I can't have it, and they're all friends, and I think that's the beauty of. I'm proud to be part of this program because it's such a nice gig. So we're having some challenges, and I need to talk to you as the expert. What do you like? You coached the girls for a long time, and you were a player. And what is the biggest differences, do you think, that as a coach that you have to deal with with the girls, especially in this age, high school age girls, high school age boys, their minds go in different ways and stuff. What is the thing that, if you had two or three things that you say, no, look, when you're coaching girls, you have to follow this, it's a little bit different than the boys. The boys are more competitive, the girls are more emotional, whatever. What is it? Like, help me, please. Guide us through this.
I think with the girls, there's a couple of things. I think I need to find the balance of, and I've never coached boys soccer, but I hold them to a high standard. I expect them to work just as hard as the boys. I expect them to use soccer just as important as the boys do. And to me, the game of soccer is the same for the boys as it is for the girls. However, with the girls, I make sure to really incorporate a lot of team bonding and team chemistry, because I think, I can't speak for the boys because I've never coached boys soccer, but when girls feel a connection to their teammate and they really want to work for their teammate, they just play better. Like, they're playing hard for themselves, but when they know something about their teammate and they've had an experience that bonds them together and keeps them tight, they just work extra hard. So like today, I had them have a rest day, but we did a bunch of team bonding stuff. We did a TikTok challenge, and we wrote a card where we had to write like compliments about your teammates. It's just something that I've learned, having them have a connection to each other really makes them work hard for each other. So it's easy in playoffs for me to just constantly, we got to go hard every single day, hard. But I also think it's just so important to have a day or have an activity where they can just be kids and have fun and really bond with each other. And I see them play their best soccer after every time we do a team bonding activity. So for me, the most important thing as a coach, coaching girls, is number one, don't have lower expectations for them. I don't know if anybody ever does, but they're athletes and they will perform at the highest level that they can. And if they aren't, make them run. And number two, make sure that they feel a connection with each other, because I think it's easy for teenagers, especially because that's my focus, is teenagers, to get caught up in other things and get caught up in drama sometimes. But if they just always feel that team bond, they're always going to work hard for each other. So that's my input.
That's fantastic. Thank you very much. And we'll talk about a contract for you after this. And now let's talk business. Playoffs next week.
Yes.
So you guys have a week to prepare.
Yes.
Any downs? Anything that you can share with us? Any problems going into playoffs? Any good news for playoffs?
Well, the girls are absolutely so excited, which is something I love to see. We have something different for us than last year, is we had such a quick turnaround between our district game and our playoff game. It was only a couple of days. We have an entire week to train. It's a great opportunity. And the girls are so pumped. And something I'm really working on with them is something very basic, which is just placing their shots, find the corners, because my girls all have very strong legs, but we do have a bit of a kick it right at the goalkeeper problem. So fix it. And that's something we've fixed in the last district games. And that's one of the reasons I think that we won districts, because we were having a couple games there before districts that kind of caused a couple losses where we were dominating the game. Why are we kicking it right at the keeper? We know better. Just place it. So that's something we've really been working on. And also crashing, finishing crosses, because my team is very technical and they're very good at creating opportunities where they can cross the ball. We got to finish it. And something I've been working on a lot with them is, you don't have to place your foot on it when you're finishing a cross. You don't have to do some awkward high kick. Just run through it. Crash it. Crash the goal. Get a goal. And it doesn't have to be pretty. Just get a goal. So those have been main focuses for us. Yesterday, we had a really good 1v1 practice where every drill we did was 1v1. So I think I'm finding a balance of the things that they're already good on, just enhancing that and reminding them they're really good at it. And then the things that maybe we struggle with a little bit, showing them that easy peasy, we can get it done. But the progress they've made from mid-season to now with their shots it's phenomenal. And I think a big part of that is I do drills where it's a point system. And when they shoot, I always yell out how many points they get. So finding a bottom corner, that's 5 points. Upper corner, 10 points. They score, but it's not like a great goal. I'll give them 1 point. And if they kick it right at the goalkeeper, I make it a -10 point, because I'm trying to teach them That does nothing. If they kick it out and it's off frame, I give them -5 points. And then at the end, if you have a certain amount of points, you're free from punishment. If you have like a negative points, you got to run a little bit. I think that's really important for me as a coach, just to really hold them accountable. And they've been doing a lot better. So I think that they're playing their best game right now, and I'm really excited to see what we do next week.
So you guys, who do you play against?
We play against Newsom High School.
I heard Newsom High School has done fantastic in this season.
They have.
And what's the mental, like the preparation for that? The girls are confident they're going into a good game, or do you feel more they're feeling a little bit?
Well, I was actually a little bit worried coming into this week that every single day I'm going to have to give them this big hype up speech, and I'm prepared to do it. But they've been in great spirits, and I think that they know that the losses we've had this season have stemmed from maybe us being a maybe more talented team, just not finishing. Because something I always say to my kids is, I'm not going to tell you good try for missing a goal, because I'm not going to say that to a defender for getting scored on. You have a job. It's to score. If you're going to be right in front of the goal and kick it right at the keeper, I'm not saying good try to that. And I think that with that mentality, they've just gotten so much better. And they know that any games that we've lost, we've gotten better since then. We've built chemistry. Any girl that was injured, we're back. We're healthy. We've only really got one girl who was a starter who's injured right now, but we're pretty healthy right now, and they're playing their best soccer. And so, yeah, that other team may have a better record than us, but Orlando's got great competition. We played a lot of great teams. Who's to say who they played? And furthermore, we've had some games where we dominated the whole time and we still tied or we still lost. So if it becomes a situation where maybe they're dominating the game more than us, if we still play hard and still play the game that we know how to play, it's anybody's game. Soccer's unpredictable.
Very unpredictable.
Yeah.
Trust me.
Oh, I know you know.
I know how unpredictable this game can be, but I want to wish you the best of luck. Thank you so much for making time to come in here.
Thank you for having me.
Chatting with us about your program. Congratulations.
Thank you.
We see potential with a very young female coach, and I think the community needs to do more of this.
Yes.
The community needs to open more the doors, because what you've done in the last 2 years have been amazing for these girls.
Thank you.
With these girls, I don't think you do it for them as much as they do it for you. So you are a team, and
it's a partnership.
Yeah, it's a partnership, and I think just by you having the connection and you having the bonding, and that's already important enough. And we have kids going to play in all different levels, and nowadays the top level, especially on the boys' side, they say, oh, the top level can't play high school and all of that. But I've been in soccer a long time. Unless you make it to the professional level, when you have fans and you have the stadiums cheering for you or against you, no vibe beats what you guys went through last week in the district final. I was there on Wednesday, and you guys were there on Thursday. And like, for the kids to play for their friends, for the kids to play for their school,
representing their school,
it's unbelievable. And I think regardless of what happens for you guys next week, or regardless what happens to the players or to the coach, I guarantee you that this season, especially for the seniors, is going to stay in their minds forever. So I played high school, I played UCF, and I played a little bit of semi-pro after that in Brazil and here. And the best times of my soccer career was in high school. And people can say whatever they want. Oh, but it's a different level. Is this? I met my wife in high school, and we're married to this day. And then I coached my high school after, and we coached the boys, and now we're seeing them. So high school was a big part of my life. So I'm super excited that we're here with you today. Want to wish you the best of luck.
Thank
and it's
you.
a special day, because today is the National Women's in Sports Day. And here I am with the queen of soccer here in Lake Nona. Hey, you get to that point, you start getting titles.
I'll take queen any day. No, it's really special for me to be able to be in this position, because I think it's really important for girls to have a mentor and have a head coach who is a female, and get to see that a female can fill that role. I've had a lot of coaches in my life. Only one was a female, and my male coaches were great, but something about having and seeing that a female can do it too is just really special for those girls. And I'm glad I can be a role model for them. And I'm glad that I can be the queen of Lake Nona soccer.
Perfect. So I want you to look at that camera and you'll send a beautiful message for all the girls in sports today, all the coaches like yourself, young coaches, older coaches, because you guys play an important role in soccer. I believe soccer in America is what it is today because of what the girls have done in the last couple of years. So just send us a message and be good, be creative, because today it's a special day for all women in sport, and I want to make sure that we got that message across. Thank you so much for coming. We're going to cut out right after your message. No pressure.
All right.
But you close the first episode of the season 3 of Nona Sportscast. Thank you very much, Riz and Nona Media, for doing this. Thank you, Danny, for in the back of the backstage there. And with you guys, a great message from Savannah Bryant, the head coach of the girls team for Lake Nona High School, on the National Women's in Sports Day. So
I guess I would say that never forget that you're important. I know that sometimes when being surrounded by male sports, it really being so much popular than female sports, that you can feel like, why am I even doing this? Nobody cares. People care. I care. You care. Your parents care. And there's fans out there. People care. But don't do the sport for all of them. Do it for yourself, because at the end of the day, if you're playing soccer, if you're coaching soccer, that means that there is a point where you're a kid who grabbed a ball and you fell in love with it. It doesn't matter who you are, where you are. Keep loving soccer, keep working hard. And whether you have a career in it or not, like I do, like I know I have a career, soccer is special and it builds character, and it's something that you will hold on to for the rest of your life. So keep kicking.
Thank you.